Well, how good is the Arkansas job? We know that Sam Pittman was let go on September 29th. Talking with coaches in my coaching search work, I'm not quite sure how many coaches that may be on their list that are reciprocating the interest. We're going to get into that and why there's one guy that certainly is the clear favorite, and it's really up to him on whether he not only wants a job, but can he earn the job. Reminder to subscribe, like, and share so that you don't miss any of our football content. We appreciate you joining us. Check us out at LandryFootball.com as well. Well, as we mentioned, you hear the typical things and the typical chatter. I get media reaching out about this name and that name and these jobs, and everybody throws the same names for this job and that job. First of all, let's look at the Arkansas job. We've talked about what programs are maybe the best in the SEC and kind of where it fits. A couple of things about Arkansas. A big misnomer. First of all, I go back being a little older, where Arkansas was a power in the Southwest Conference. And Frank Broyles and some great Arkansas teams. I saw a great team in the '69, and even before that, saw Lou Holtz have some really good teams when he was coaching there. And look, they've had some good moments. Bobby Petrino the first time out. Houston Nutt had some success. But the concern is, where do they fit in the current era of the SEC, where everybody's lumped into one? When it was just in the West, well, you could maybe find a way to win some games. And if you get a schedule that's favorable, because remember, you've got schedules now in these big conferences where you don't play everybody, they can maybe do some damage. But although he says he was it was taken out of context, Hunter Yurachek, the athletic director, has not said in any certain terms that we've got the funds to be an elite football program and we expect to do so. He hasn't done that. In fact, he said the opposite. He even said that Sam Pittman didn't get the support he needed in the football program. That's a big concerning issue for coaches out there. Look, you can look at it and throw names out all you want. You can throw the coaches with big names and, hey, it's Arkansas. And again, it's a program that I've always admired, and I always thought, well, for example, what Ole Miss is doing, there's no reason why Arkansas can't do it. There's a couple of things. They've got some big money boosters, but sometimes people miss how many of them are really putting into the program. Now, I think the Tyson Chicken folks do a really nice job. People will throw out Jerry Jones's name a lot. Well, Jerry Jones doesn't put much into the program. Now, I will tell you, there's a building or two on campus with Jerry's name on it. That's how Jerry likes it, of course. It's about Jerry. He's not putting any money into NIL for Arkansas. I can tell you, he's funding the Dallas Cowboys. Understandably so, not a criticism there. But are they willing to put together an NIL package? Are they going to be second fiddle? And if you are, then who's going to want the job? I'm hearing from coaches that are being mentioned for some of these next steps, not just the big-time names, which I think are off the board at this point. It's the ones at, we'll call the mid-major level, the lesser conferences, schools, guys that are going to make a jump. They don't think that job is as good as maybe some other jobs that are going to come open that folks may think is not as good a job as Arkansas. Again, remember, it's what you put into the program. And until Arkansas does that, I think this job is Bobby Petrino's to lose. I think he's been there. He's certainly been with the program. The team is playing better now. There's no question that you got to look at how are you going to recruit going forward. And if you're not going to spend a lot of money, Bobby will find a way where the offenses are at least very good year in and year out. He'll find a couple of skill position guys, and he's done some things coaching-wise that, quite frankly, the team is responding a lot better, even on the defensive side, as opposed to like when they played Notre Dame, where they looked like they really quit defensively. And that's really a shame for Sam Pittman. But I think Bobby's, unless there's a complete collapse the rest of the way and there's like major issues that surface, I think right now, if the decision were to be made today, and it shouldn't be, Bobby would have the job. I don't think they're going to get anybody better. I'm not a big Bob Petrino fan in terms of running a program, but I think he's a good coach. I don't think a John Summerall or an Alex Golesh is going to look at this job compared to others and say, that's where I want to go. I think they'll stay where they're at until they can find a better one. I think John Summerall would prefer to go to Kentucky if that opened up. Of course, that's his school, but he's a Texarkana native and certainly would make some sense at Arkansas, but not unless they're making a level of commitment that heretofore they have not done. Would Ryan Silverfield of Memphis take that job? I don't think Rhett Lashley would leave SMU to go to Arkansas. He can get a lot more money from the SMU folks. Now, I think getting an SEC job, there's something to be said for that. But while there's something to be said for going to a conference with bigger resources financially, there's a lot more pressure with it. At SMU, look, he goes to the ACC championship game in year one. They're going to make a lot of money. Look, Rhett was born in Springdale. I do think he has some intrigue about the Arkansas job. And if they say the right things to him, I think he might listen. But I'll be honest with you, if he wants to get in the SEC, he's got a shot at the Auburn job. He'll be in the mix. I think that we need to look at it. People that I don't know that Jeff Traylor of Texas San Antonio, who's on Chad Morris's staff at Arkansas, by the way, running back coach. And I know that Chad Morris regime didn't work well, but I don't think Jeff would leave and take the job. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Arkansas can get their house in order and see if they can tap into their financial resources to create an NIL program that is sustainable and consistent to win in the SEC. Because until they do, I can tell you, Arkansas fans, you're not going to be, quote-unquote, excited about who you're going to get. I think they're probably going to settle for Bob Petrino. I think they're going to like him because I think he's going to fit. I think he's going to fit financially what they're looking for. Do I think that's the best future for Arkansas football? I do not. But short term, it's probably where they're going to go unless things change. Reminder again, give us a shout out if you would. Give us your thoughts. Give us your comments. Please press the subscribe button and share with our show with everyone. And check us out at LandryFootball.com as well.